Hi YouTube, this is Lucy from KBeautyHobbit.com, and today's video is about some of the things that absolutely drive me nuts when it comes to Korean beauty. You can probably tell by the channel name and if you've ever seen any of my videos that I am a huge fan of Korean beauty. I've been very heavily into it for I think about 3 years now. I've had a blog for close to 2 years, I think, and I have a group on Facebook with 4,000 members called Korean Beauty Fanatics. So Korean beauty is something that is very near and dear to my heart. There's so many things that I love about it, but today's video is about a few things that drive me up the wall and the things that I'm totally over. These are in no particular order, and again, of course, there are more positives than negatives, but this video is just not about the positives. This is about some of the negative. Number one thing that drives me completely nuts, even though it does not affect me personally, is the very limited shade range of a lot of products. Now, I understand that when it comes to Korean demographics, they probably do not need a full range of shades in, let's say, foundation. I don't know how many people in Korea have deeper, darker skin tones. But I think it's ridiculous that in today's day and age, when K-beauty is such a globally popular category of skincare and makeup, that the brands won't introduce some of the deeper shades. I mean, for example, one of my favorite cushion foundations is by Klairs, and it comes in one color. One. It fits me because I'm super pale, but it wouldn't really fit almost anybody else. I mean, only people with a skin tone very close to mine. And then I recently talked in my last video about this Nagapi World cushion, and I really love it. Well, that comes in two shades, 21 and 23. Misha makes some of the more inclusive ranges on their products, but still, even those I don't think go really deep enough into some of the skin tones. And I think it is just from the human perspective, a strange decision to exclude a whole huge segment of the population. But just talking from the business perspective, you are willingly giving up the profit you could make as a brand from all the people with deeper skin tones. So I really hope that as K-beauty becomes more and more popular, more and more well-known, you can even get it at Target these days, that brands really get with the program and start offering more than one or two colors. Number two on the list of things that drive me insane is the inconsistent product naming. And I'm really not sure whom to blame here. I'm not really trying to assign blame, but it drives me nuts. So there are things like toners, emulsions, serums, lotions, ampules, whatever else. And it seems like every brand basically decides for themselves how they're going to name products and what they're going to be used as. So, for example, most toners are applied right after cleansing, and yet in some brands, the serums need to be applied right after cleansing. The emulsion usually is like a thin cream or like a lotion, but in some brands, emulsion is a toner, or what I think of as a toner. So it just gets really overwhelming. For somebody like me, I've been in this every single day for so long, I can usually make sense of stuff. But if you're just starting out and you think that you're getting a toner in a sense of it's a thin product that's watery, that adjusts the pH, and that is applied right after cleansing, and you're buying something that is called toner, and what comes is a thick cream looking thing, it just gets very confusing. So I really wish that manufacturers would stop being creative in this misguided way and just name things the way we expect them to name things. If you're naming something a serum, then maybe don't tell us to apply it onto clean skin before the toner. That just gets really confusing. I mean, call it a starter. I don't know. It's just, there's so many ways to name a toner too that exist right now. It can be referred to as skin, as toner, as a starter, as a first treatment essence. Anyway, it gets overwhelming. I hope that's where places like my blog, KBeautyHobbit.com, or my Facebook group come in handy, where people can ask questions and actually make sense of things and ask others who are more experienced with these specific products. I always suggest following the manufacturer's instructions, but it gets a little bit tricky sometimes when you are mixing product lines and product manufacturers and trying to figure out what is the right order of using all of this stuff is. Next thing that drives me up the wall are the absolutely ridiculously jacked up prices when it comes to buying K-beauty in the United States. I usually order directly from Korea on eBay, or sometimes I use sites like Josie. I will put a list in the description box of the places where I like to shop, and for some of them I have coupon codes. But of course, there's some downsides to that. You have to wait for 2 weeks or sometimes longer for stuff to come in. Sometimes the descriptions are not in English. Sometimes they're not ingredients list available. So it is tempting for people, especially people who are not very much into online shopping, to just go to Ulta, Sephora, to Soko Glam, which is online, but it's stateside, or to websites like Face Story and order items there and just have them arrive very quickly, domestic shipping, or to just have them in hand right then, because places like Sephora and Ulta, they stock some of the K-beauty. Well, I'll tell you what, the pricing difference is incredible. Sometimes things are close in price to what you would pay for them, shipping from Korea directly or buying here in one of the big stores. But more often than not, you're paying 30, 40, 50% more for the same item just because you're buying it in the States. Now, I am not going to say that that is wrong. I do not know what costs are involved for these sellers to bring products to the United States. I don't know if they have to pass certain regulations, maybe. I know that the labeling is in English, but just from the consumer standpoint. So what I'm saying is maybe these vendors, these sellers, these retailers, maybe they're justified in charging more. Maybe it just covers their expenses. But I think more so it is just capitalizing on the hype and the popularity of K-beauty and the fact that most people just don't know or are not comfortable to go and get stuff directly from Korea. I think mostly it's just straight up making the profit. But again, I mean, I have an MBA, but I'm not a purchaser for these retail chains. I'm not involved in their day-to-day business decisions, so maybe it's justified. I'm not sure. But it just drives me nuts. Like, I wish I could go to a local store and pick up a K-beauty item for an affordable price, or for a price that is close to eBay and close to Amazon. The only place that I can do that at currently is TJ Maxx, but of course the selection there is hit and miss, and sometimes items are not in the best shape. Sometimes somebody's opened them, and this isn't really TJ Maxx's fault. Probably it's more that, people are just careless when they shop sometimes, but still. Another thing, there's some brands, and I'm not going to name the brand, but there's one specific one that has, and it comes to mind, that had a global website that was accessible by all countries. No matter if you are in Russia or in the United States or in Germany, you could pull up this website and it would give you the pricing, and then you could get it delivered to your country via DHL. And they would run all these different specials occasionally, like buy one mask, get one free, and so on. Well, as soon as that brand opened a flagship store in New York City, they immediately took away the ability of the people from the United States to get on their global website. They opened a specific North American United States website. And if you have a United States IP and you try to go onto the global website, the old one, it automatically redirects you to the new one. And the prices are higher and the promotions aren't as good. Now, I work for an international company and I have different ways of getting on to these international websites, the one where it won't let you in on that with the USAP. Anyway, so I can compare in real time the sales that are going on the international website and the sales that are going on the American one. And it's seriously incredible. Like, it would be 1 + 1, so buy one, get one free deal on the international website. And it would be like a 2 + 1, buy two, get one free on the American one. Like, why? Is it because we supposedly just have so much more money than the rest of the world that it's okay to charge us premium? Like, I don't understand. it drives me crazy. And some of the products by this specific brand have been renamed for the American market. So what is called Skin, like a toner, it's called Skin if you are ordering it at a Korean shop, and then it'll be called a toner on the United States website. And I bet they would try and use that as a justification for charging us more, but whatever. Drives me nuts. The next point is somewhat mitigated by the whole being able to get it on the United States side. But the thing that annoys me is it is difficult to find ingredients list for Korean cosmetics online if you're buying them on eBay or even big websites like Jolzy or Cosmetic Love or BeautyNet Korea or even Amazon. If you are buying them at places like Sephora or Ulta, you will be able to find ingredients list. But Sephora and Ulta don't have the selection that eBay has. So still, it is very difficult. I really wish that when products are listed online that at least a picture of the ingredients would be included or something like that. A lot of the times I have to rely on user supplied data on websites like CosDNA for ingredients list, but that's not always accurate. I try to always put ingredients list in my reviews at the end because when I'm reviewing a product, I'm holding the packaging, I can see the ingredients list, I can take a picture or type it up or whatever. But when I myself choose products for me to buy and to review, it is very difficult sometimes to find ingredients lists. So I really hope that that gets better as the things get more popular. The next annoying thing is packaging changes, and brands do that quite often. The ones that come to mind are Innisfree, Manufactory, and there's some other ones. And when I talk about packaging changes, I don't mean formula changes. I mean just straight up just a different package, but the ingredients are the same. And I'm not sure what the purpose is. It might be just to keep things fresh because it now looks different and maybe people will buy it more. Yada is another brand. So what's frustrating to me is I will buy something, I will take pictures of it, I will use it, and I try to use things long enough to be able to form an opinion and, you know, tell people about it. Well, by the time that I'm ready to write a review, boom, the package is different. And then people get confused, like, well, is this the same thing? And 9 times out of 10, when I compare the ingredients of the old product packaging to the new product packaging, the ingredients are the same. So seriously, just the labels change, the colors change. And I think brand recognition is such a hard thing to achieve. Like, it is hard to get to a point where people recognize your products just by looking at them. And I think brands get a certain feel, like Dr. Jart has very distinct, for example, labeling. Like if I see a product that I'm not familiar with, I can right away usually recognize that it's a Dr. Jart one just because of the design of it. And so to me, if you have a product that is popular, that people are used to looking a certain way, you just stick with it. Like why relabel it? What does this achieve exactly? If you're not changing the formula, why are you just changing the design? I don't know, it drives me nuts. Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe you don't feel this way, and let me know in the comments. But it's just, why? Stop doing that. It is just confusing. It is confusing. Packaging changes are not nearly as annoying, however, is when the cult favorite amazing products just get completely discontinued. And this is like a raw subject for me this week because I found out just now that my favorite cream has been discontinued, and it is the Innisfree No Sebum Powder Cream. I was just recommending that to somebody online in my group the other day, and they replied, well, we can't find that anywhere because we think it's been discontinued. And sure enough, what used to be like tons of listings on eBay and other places, now suddenly there's one listing for a super jacked up price, which means that, yep, it's not being made anymore. And I know the Korean beauty market is so competitive. I know these brands have to fight for market share. They have to keep introducing the next new thing, and they probably cannot like realistically keep all of their old products and all of their new products. It's just too many products. But dang, there was this cleansing stick years ago, I think a couple years ago, by Zoom 37. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's a kind of a luxury brand. It was a rose cleansing stick, and everybody just loved it. And I kept wanting to try it, but it's expensive, and I had a hard time justifying it. So I told myself, well, I will try it. And by the time I was ready to buy it, the thing got discontinued, and just something like that everybody's talking about, that everybody's loving. I'm sure they have sales data to prove it, that it's such a popular thing. Why discontinue it? Just why? Stop it. Bring it back. Bring back my Innisfree Sebum Powder Cream. And dear Siam, the Siam, one of my favorite brands, please bring back your Chaga Neck Cream. I really like that one. This video is getting kind of whiny, huh? Well, that is the nature of this subject. The next thing, I don't know if it's even annoying or what this is. I mean, some of it just depends on us, but I'm just going to put it out there. I think that Korean beauty produces a lot of waste, a lot of packaging waste. And I am getting more conscious about that with some other life changes we're doing, not related to skincare, but some of the other things that are going on in our family here recently. I'm just thinking about the environment more and more. We already try to be environmentally friendly, like for example, cloth diaper, we very rarely use single-use plastics or disposable products, but I never thought about waste when it comes to skincare products, partially because in my past life, I've never used so many skincare products, but now when I look at my giant stash of sheet masks, every single one comes in a little foil package. I have an example of a mask I used the other day. So this is by a company called Meg, and I'm sorry, it's a little wet. It was in my shower. But this is one product. So a single-use item. It had these two parts. Inside of here is a swab soaked in AHA peeling acid, and then in here was a sheet mask. So it is a 25-minute experience, I would say, from start to finish. In that 25 minutes, we have produced this piece of garbage with a cotton swab inside of it, this piece of garbage, and the mask itself that was in there, which is also now garbage. These two things are recyclable, or at least they seem to be recyclable. There's this little sign there for recyclable. But I know that just because we put something in the recycling bin doesn't necessarily mean that it ends up being recycled. Some places, like the facilities, sometimes plastics get mixed with each other and they cannot be recycled. There's this whole big documentary on Netflix, for example, called Broken, and one of their episodes is on the whole recycling hoax, and what we think is getting recycled a lot of times is not getting recycled. So I think that it is good to use sheet masks. I like sheet masks. They definitely do what they promise. Some are better than others. But I think as Korean beauty is becoming more and more popular and more people are into it, and now of course we have sheet masks that are non-Korean because everybody's getting on the bandwagon. Everybody wants a bite of your dollar. So there are now of course US brands and all these other countries, they're all making their sheet masks. But I cannot imagine if a person uses a sheet mask every day, they produce that one piece of garbage every day, and some masks have extra plastic liners inside of them if it's a hydrogel mask, so then you have even more waste. And I think there's just got to be a better way. I'm considering making a video about all the different ways to reduce waste and reduce your environmental footprint when it comes to beauty, and let me know if that's something that you're interested in. I'm definitely not an expert on it. I am still learning. I'm working on finishing out and reviewing, doing quick reviews on Instagram at KBeautyHobbit on the sheet masks that I have. I might not be buying more, or I might be more judicious in the types of sheet masks that I'm buying. I'm probably not going to be buying the super budget friendly, just regular like sheet masks made from the cheaper fabrics. I am probably going to replace those with more wash-off masks, where one jar gives you lots and lots and lots of uses versus one use per sheet mask. And I might just focus my dollars on the super amazing, like great results, kind of higher end masks that are hydrogel, for example. The ones that cannot be, the effects of which cannot be easily replicated with some kind of wash-off mask. I'm still pondering that. I'm not sure. If you have a good solution to the whole sheet mask waste problem, let me know. Sheet mask is just the biggest thing that pops into my head. Of course, there are all this other packaging of all the things that we use. It's wasteful. Even things like hydrogel patches. I don't think those are biodegradable. And even if they are, we're throwing them into the garbage, into garbage bags that are not biodegradable. So there's this whole thing, and it makes me sad to think about it. I know I'm just one person. I don't know if one person really can make an impact, but also just one person producing waste makes a negative impact, because that's one person times hundreds of thousands and millions of people that all do it every day or every other day or whatever. So that thing is not necessarily annoying. It doesn't make me angry. It makes me sad. And I'm not sure what the solution is. Hopefully there is one. Hopefully we can all do a little bit better every day and be better and leave something better for our children and their children. The final annoying point are the copycat brands. There are quite a few brands that will just straight up copy the look, the colors, sometimes even the naming of products from the bigger, better known brands. The best example I can think about is Laneige. They make these cult favorite sleeping masks. They have a face one and a lip one and an eye one. I've talked about them. I own them all. And there's a brand called, I think you pronounce it Carnell. I'm not sure. I'm going to put pictures here somewhere of these things. But Carnell makes like copycat products of the Laneige lip mask and the face mask. And I haven't tried it. And they are cheaper. And the reason I don't want to try it, I mean, I don't even want to try it. It turns me off so much that instead of spending your energy on creating something new and innovative or unique or whatever, that people just straight up copy stuff from other brands that have done the R&D and the marketing and all these things, brands that have established themselves through hard work and good formulations. And just for somebody to come and copycat it and knock it off, and I just hate that whole concept. Like, I would be super upset if somebody took my pictures, for example, from my blog and used them as their own. And that has happened to me, and it's very upsetting. And I know that a brand like Laneige is not an individual. The brand probably doesn't get upset, probably doesn't have feelings. But to me as a consumer, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Like, dear brands like Carnell, if you are so good, if you can produce something that is good and budget friendly and awesome, and you really want to fairly compete with these larger brands, then brand your stuff differently. Make it stand out. Make it look different. You can advertise it as, hey, just as good as whatever, but cheaper. But I mean, do some work, like distinguish yourself. Instead, what happens, and Le Biot, the one I talked about in my previous video with my Project Pan, Le Biot is one that gets knocked off so much. They make these awesome products that look like wine bottles, like this one. It's a wine bottle lip tint. And I've had now two friends, well, one reader and one friend, fall for knockoffs of these. These get knocked off a ton, and most of the knockoffs are made in China, and I'm not even going to go into this. I do not buy stuff that is made in China and is a knockoff. You just do not know what's in it. If you want to know more about what could be in it, watch the first episode of the documentary called Broken on Netflix. It's about counterfeit cosmetics. Anyway, so I had a reader of my blog say, oh, I bought these based on your review and they're burning my lips and they're crap. And I asked this person for a picture, and sure enough, it's not this. It looks like this, but this part has a different brand name on it. It has a different sign, whatever. If I can find a picture, I will put it in here. And then more recently, just a couple weeks ago, my best friend ordered some. They came and she goes, oh, I got these, and she sends me a picture. And I said, don't use that. It's not this. You bought a knockoff. It looks very much like it. Now, I am somebody who does this all the time. Like, I look at things, I know these brands by name, but somebody who doesn't know these brands by name, who just remembers, oh, it's a lip tint that looked like a wine bottle. They go online and they see something super similar and they buy it, and then it's not this. It just drives me nuts. Like, make your own crap. Make vodka lip tints. I don't know. Make a beer one. Stop stealing other people's ideas. These guys came up with something cool and people love it. Well, now you come up with something cool. Do some legwork, do market research, put yourself out there, stick your neck out, be creative, and do something yourself. All right. That is my soapbox for the day. So those are the things that drive me nuts. If you have things that drive you nuts, leave me a comment below. And I hope that this video was, if not useful, then at least entertaining for you. And I hope you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell. I post once a week on Saturdays. I've missed one time so far because I had no voice. But usually I post once a week on Saturdays in the mornings, Central Time. And so I will see you next week. Visit my blog if you want more reviews. It's KBeautyHobbit.com. You can find me on almost all social media with the KBeautyHobbit is the name that I use everywhere. So I hope to see you next week. And until then, please remember to listen to your skin. Thanks for watching.